The Broadway Show is your all-access pass to the biggest shows and stars of the Broadway stage and beyond. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Welcome. The cult favorite TV series Smash now open on Broadway. The long-awaited musical stars Robyn Hurder and Caroline Bowman. We caught up with the stars at the opening.
We're so in love with it. We're so proud of it because it's different than any other Broadway show right now. What's really wonderful about these fans, especially the fans of the TV show that say, and we hear it all the time, like, I've been waiting 13 years for this moment. And I'm like, what'd you think? And they're like, we loved it. I mean, it's like, I truly feel like if we took the show and just put it on stage, it wouldn't translate the same way. And I also think we need a whole lot of laughter, and I think that's what the fans of the show are appreciating about it.
It's so iconic, and I love singing iconic songs. The laughter, just like, I don't think they're expecting to laugh so hard as they do. So that's been so fun to hear and know that our jokes are landing, and I think just people are pumped.
It's just been great. I mean, the first preview was like, I thought the building was going to fall down. Like, the fans of the show really come for the show, you know, and they really support it.
Here's the great news for me and everyone watching is I don't really sing much in this show. I'm more in a play that's surrounded by a musical, you know, being done just a little bit. But I love hearing it, and I don't know, I have a different favorite every night. Absolutely astonishing songs for this. And so just to sit and listen or sort of act like I'm doing something and be freaking out of how good it sounds, and, you know, it's a lot of fun.
Jeremy Jordan comes back to Broadway this spring in the Broadway premiere of Floyd Collins at Lincoln Center. It's the story of a cave explorer who gets trapped underground in 1920s Kentucky, sparking the very first media circus. Here's Paul Wontorek with a look.
Floyd Collins on Broadway, this is like a 30-year in the making premiere, right? Is there like a pressure to all that?
It's a really unique opportunity that we have the original creators with us, like helping us put it all together, because it's not like your normal revival where like, here's our spin and we get to like do it, and not that we're not putting our own spin on it and stuff, but it makes it that more precious, and like it makes it that more exciting, and you know, we're just like, we gotta do it justice.
Yeah, I had this thought the other day that, you know, they've been waiting for the right timing, they keep saying, but to think if this show happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, the three of us wouldn't be sitting here. So it feels kind of incredible that this is the moment, and I feel like these two roles have been waiting for these two actors, truly. And so it all kind of feels like this is the right time for it.
It's also 100 years, right? Since the actual real story of Floyd Collins.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with real people. And a heartbreaking story. What does that add to this experience, especially for you, Jeremy?
I don't think it adds as much weight as it would if the person was still living, or people that are alive that knew these people. So it gives us like a little bit more of leniency into like discovering our versions of these characters. But at the same time, you know, just the fact that it did happen and these people were really real and really experienced these things, and there is, you know, at least a little bit of research that we can do to sort of like help inform those characters is nice. In our show, the Floyd that we portray has some different qualities. Like, he's a little bit more of an optimist. He's, you know, he's got more, whereas, you know, I'm sure the guy that was actually stuck in a hole was probably in a very, very dark place, but we can't live in that the whole show, you know?
There's literally like barely any information about my character in the book, Trapped, or like anything online. There's like 2 photos of her available, so it's been kind of easier for me to like not really think about that stuff. I still, obviously it's wild that she existed, and it's just, it blows my mind. But yeah, it's easier for me to like not really think about that stuff and make her my own.
What has this been like for you? It was exciting to hear your name come onto the Broadway landscape.
Mean, totally.
And you get to work with these two Broadway dudes here. What's it been like?
It's just so great. It's just, yeah, I mean, this has been my dream for so long. And to have it be this show to make my debut in, it's just like so cool. And I just feel so honored and grateful that I get to be a part of it, and these guys are so great. And
it fits her like a glove. I mean, it's kind of it's almost like they wrote it with her in mind, even though she wasn't born. When
I was
wrote
not
it.
born.
Oh.
It feels that way too. I mean,
Yeah.
even when I came in and like auditioned for the first time in front of everyone, I was like, this feels like so right. It just the songs that Nelly specifically is saying, it's just so like right for me.
And this brotherhood energy, this is like sort of, I've heard so many actors over the years talk about, you know, this like a beautiful part of the show. You're the brother above ground.
Yeah, I get to traverse both worlds, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I get to be down in Floyd's world and up above ground. It's funny, Jeremy and I, our families kind of mirror where we are in the show. I'm the middle child with an older brother and a younger sister, which is exactly what Homer, my character, is. And Jeremy's the oldest of three, the oldest brother of three, younger brother,
with a younger brother, younger sister.
Yeah, so it's kind of true to life in that way, which is fun. We can both draw from our brotherhoods in real life, which is kind of great.
Ask Tina Landau, she's like, you guys need to take it down a notch. Because we get so excited and we just like revert to our childhood when we're together, and it's which is great. I'd rather take it down a notch than be like, we need more. So it's you know, we just kind of like locked right into that.
It's another must-see show and another star-studded opening night on Broadway. Stranger Things star Sadie Sink makes her return in John Proctor's The Villain. It's the new comedy from playwright Kimberly Bellflower and Tony-winning director Danya Taymor.
I think it's just such a natural, authentic, and powerful depiction of girlhood. And every character felt so alive and like someone I had known, or maybe a version of myself at some point in my life. So it was really resonant and has just like become even more so throughout the process of bringing it to life. I hope they find so much truth in it and they resonate with different characters. And I think the show kind of ends on such a hopeful note. So I hope they're able to kind of trek through like the sticky, icky bits of it all, but at the end find like a sense of enlightenment and hope.
There's a new Eurydice in the underworld. Tony nominee Hailey Kilgore joins the cast of Hadestown. We had a chance to chat at the Skylark. How does it feel to be back on Broadway?
I feel so rejuvenated. I feel like once on this island I was a student and I was just absorbing as much information as I could. And now I'm like, okay, I don't have to be scared. I don't have to do it scared now. I know how this works, so.
This is a show you loved already, though. It's not like a show you weren't really familiar with and you had to sort of figure it out. So tell me about your personal history with the show.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I've seen it 15 times.
Okay, so you're a little familiar.
I kind of liked it a little bit. Even though Blizzada was so kind to me when I was a little bitty baby, and she took me under her wing because she had done it before with Miss Saigon.
Yeah.
She was 18 years old and figuring it out, and the fact that she took the time to reach out to me and kind of pull me in and be like, hey, this is how things work and you're gonna be fine. And at the time, she was getting ready to leave to go to London and do the show. And I was like, oh, okay, show about it's a Greek tragedy, okay, like, I don't know. Then when they came to Broadway, I saw it and whoa. It gave me the same feeling that Once on This Island gave me, which is it's humanity and it's the heart of people and taking things that we might take for granted, how those things impact us as people and how we can impact other people in their journeys. That's really powerful.
And you kept going back to it. And then what happened when you what happened when you found out? Or did you say, look, I've got to do this no matter what?
It's so funny because I, in my shower, have played every track in Hadestown. I have been Hades.
So you've been in rehearsal. You've been in rehearsal way before you knew.
Yes, I've been a fate, honey. Like I had done it all, and so when they asked me to do it, I was so excited. I'm coming away from me. I hear the walls repeating, the falling that I beat it. It sounds like a running.
Hadestown. What do you think that makes somebody go back 15 times? And what is it about your character that just makes you fall in love with it?
Frickin' Rachel Chavkin. Oh my word. I would like to spend one day just like in her creative mind. First of all, I remember being like, I experienced Wait For Me for the first time and I was like, I just need to see the show again to just, I don't know what just happened. And then you fall in love with the individual actors on stage. And then you're falling in love with the lighting. It's so beautiful.
Well, it's so wonderful to see you back on Broadway. When you look at Hadestown, we're looking at your Instagram and how excited you were. Can you walk us through that video and just what those feelings were and those emotions?
Ooh, I'm not gonna cry, but to do this and to do this at the level that I get to do it at is a massive blessing. And I remember being in theater school and my parents were actors when I was a kid. So they were very realistic with me about the different paths that you can take. It's never certain, right? And so when you are welcomed and invited into spaces where you get to lead and you get to be the face of, it is an unbelievable, undescribable feeling. And when it comes to being on the stage, there is so much spirit that gets to go into what you're doing. And that is something that you can so easily take for granted. And so it's just like that whole day, even like today, I wake up and I can't believe that I don't want to cry. I just can't believe that I get to like do what I love. And I get to do it with people that I love, even being here with Broadway.com. And these are people that were like, oh my gosh, look at the little baby, and like cheering me on. It's the best feeling.
And it's just the beginning. Thanks so much for staying with us for this latest episode of The Broadway Show. Glad you're here. Another big-time Broadway opening to tell you about. Old Friends is a great big Broadway show celebrating the life and music of Stephen Sondheim, and it features a knockout cast. We hit the red carpet with the stars opening night.
I guess it would be the same that anybody that has the good fortune of being in a Sondheim show would feel. It's the, oh my gosh, this material is incredible. Or, oh my God, how does he write for the human condition and for women like this? Or, oh my God, that lyric and that passage is so hard and it's going to take me a minute to get it right. Oh my gosh, it's so hard, but once it's in your body, it never leaves.
I love that people can see the depth and breadth of his work all in one show. He's like our Shakespeare. You think it's a review, it's so easy, but it's not, because when you play one character in a show, you're on a journey, that character's journey. But here you pop out and you're singing your this character and going through this thing, and then you leave, and then you come out, and then you're somebody else, and you're going through that, and you have to just pop in and out of these characters for the songs.
I think this is a perfect first Sondheim experience for anybody, or 100th Sondheim experience for anybody, because it's a beautiful sampling of just all of the work that he's done. It's actually not even a accumulation of everything that he's done, but it touches on his, Sondheim's greatest hits of sorts. And so people are going to walk away falling in love with at least one song in this show for sure, if not, hopefully all 41 of them.
You need to come see this show, especially people that don't really, like my husband's obsessed with Stephen Sondheim, but I find those people that aren't obsessed will become obsessed.
A new revival of David Mamet's Glengarry Glen Ross, now open on Broadway, and the cast is lights out. Kieran Culkin, Bob Odenkirk, Bill Burr, and more. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
Well, thank you all for joining me here at the Palace Theater. It's very exciting to see Glengarry Glen Ross back on Broadway. Tell me what your history is with this show.
Well, I'm so old that I saw the original production, which was in London in 1983, and I knew I was in the presence of something really special and extraordinary, but I was 19 years old, and I understand it or follow it. I just kind of liked it. At that age, I wasn't really interested in men at work. I was doing my best to avoid ever having to work. So the themes of the play didn't particularly intrigue me, but the writing fascinated me.
I saw the 20 years ago production. I missed the one in the middle, and sort of similar. Like, I was 22 then, and I wasn't super interested in men at work, but it's weird how now it sort of feels like it relates to lots of people, this play, in a way that maybe it didn't.
I just remember the impact of just the language and the cadence of it all. And I think there's like a tenacity and an urgency of how things are happening on stage. People talk about the Memetian language, and it's how do you capture that? And it is a very special language.
When people think of this play and the design of it, it's deceptively simple because the first act is in a Chinese restaurant and the second act is at the real estate office. So tell me about what is actually complex about it.
What's interesting about the production is, and something that I'm always intrigued about, is just the compression and the expansion. Like the sort of intimacy of the first act and the sort of sequence of those duologues and how we're just starting to establish character within that. And so I like the idea of the darkness of that space, and then to open up that space into the real estate office. It's sort of in a early 20th century, maybe late 19th century building that then has a renovation going on. Plumbing was installed later on. But these divided offices are put in with wood paneling from the 70s to then bring us up to date in 1983.
Yeah, it's not like a glamorous office.
Not glamorous at all. In fact, there's a lot,
I think that was very much part of our thinking, was that the Chinese restaurant is where they do their business, these characters. It's where they can have intimate private meetings, either with clients or with each other. It's where they can share secrets. We always wanted the Chinese restaurant to be more glamorous than the office, which is really a rough space. You feel maybe they've been here between 5 and 10 years and it's cheap rent and it's not nice at all. And so I think our Chinese restaurant is probably the most glamorous one that's ever been seen in Glengarry, but that was intentional, is to have this very seductive space and then transform into this cold, hard, very male space in the second act.
Jen, who are you to work with men?
I know, who am I? Oh my God, I feel so lucky. I was like, these are my heroes.
There's
right
a lot
here
of
between
masculinity
them.
happening in this play,
Yeah.
especially. So tell me about being a woman among them.
I didn't expect to relate so much to the play as I do as a worker, like as a worker in the industry. I'm like, I get it. Like, so many people relate to the struggle of being pitted against each other in all industries, not just in sales. I weirdly have loved this expression of the workers' fight, which I think even artists relate to. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
It does play, I think, funnier with the audience than a number of other productions, which is not, in my view, a lessening of its impact. It's just time has made these men funnier because they're dinosaurs. But they're dinosaurs being played by quite liberal men.
Yeah.
And so quite often I've had to say, no, behave worse. You're in the 80s and you are unreconstructed male. And that's actually been the most difficult thing for them to absorb, is being brutal with each other.
Thanks for sticking around. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Make It Work. It's Real Women Have Curves, the new musical based on the play that inspired the hit HBO movie. Here's an exclusive musical performance from the Broadway.com studio.
If I can be brave enough to show I can fly, flying away, I'll make her see that I'm gonna change the world and still be the daughter she wants me to be. Could I fly away with the wind on my side? with them on my side.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to check out our extended cuts of all these interviews, head on over to Broadway.com. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.